Hey, what's up? It's Genesis and I hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make claps, snares, hi-hats and other cymbals with Serum 2's Spectral synthesizer. As a quick demonstration, I've made 4 mini drops using drums that I've made with this technique. You can get the drums that I'm going to make in this video for free on my Discord, and you can get all of these drums in a sample pack that I've made on Patreon, and the links to those will be in the description below. So first off, we're going to start by switching Oscillator A to Spectral, and then by clicking this drop-down menu, going to Factory Non-Tonal, and then choosing one of the drums over here. We're going to start off really simple, and we're going to make some hi-hats. For now, we're going to start off by using some of the hi-hat samples here, but you can make hi-hats using some of the cymbal samples, some of the claps, and pretty much almost any other sample over here. And the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to flick through these hi-hat selections and find one that speaks to us. I really like the 626 hi-hat. We can then change the playback speed to make it sound either more closed or more open. I'm going to leave it to about here. And then we can EQ the sound by getting rid of that low end. Just bear in mind that this is a very harsh cut and you might hear some resonance. And then we can find a second layer by doing the same thing on Oscillator B, Spectral. Let's choose another hi-hat here. Or actually, I'm going to choose a cymbal this time. And let's hone in on that cymbal. Maybe choose a China cymbal. Speed it up. Change the pitch. And maybe choose the higher frequencies only. Let's make this scan a lot faster by right clicking on the scan knob here and changing the range. And let's hear how that blends. Pretty good. And let's do one more layer, and this time I'm going to use one of the SFX layers here. Okay, that's already very interesting. Gonna use just that last section here. Maybe make it scan a lot faster. I really like the high end it has. I'm going to leave it kind of open, and then I'm going to use the filter on one of the warp modes here, because it's a lot shallower than this kind of high end cut here. There we go. And let's layer that up. With just the levels. And then once we have something that we like, we can then move Serum aside, and on the very top left of the Serum window, to the left of the Serum 2 logo, there is a drag and drop resample over here. And as it says, it will export the last played note as a WAV file. So, I'm just going to play a note really long, just to make sure it captures every single sound from this patch. Let go, and then drag and drop. And here's our hi-hat. I'm going to make the sound a little bit snappier by trying to find a better starting point. Like around there. Let's make a ride cymbal now, and we can use pretty much the same process. I'm going to start with Oscillator A as our main body of the cymbal, and find something that's a little bit more ringy and metallic. So it sounds more like a ride bell. I like the wispiness this one has. Slow it down a little bit. Let's hone in on the second layer. Oh, there's a ride right here. Might as well use it. and put the pitch down again. And then let's do one more layer. I'm going to try and see if I can use one of the effects here. I like that ring it has. That's cool. Alright. Long note. Render it out. Boom. We've got a ride now. I'm going to do a bit of post-processing to this one. I want to add in a fade and a bit of reverb to give it a room. Yeah, a room right here. That's already pretty dope. And I think maybe an EQ, just to see if I can improve this a little bit more. It's a bit too ringy up here. And there we go. Freeze and flatten. And there's our ride. Let's make a clap now. Again, using the same principles. I'm going to use Oscillator A as our main body over here. We can actually use some of these cymbals as the body of a clap. So I'm going to do that actually. The main trick to using cymbals as claps is to pitch them down like crazy. And I'm just going to get one of these cymbals. I guess this one's really cool. And then maybe use one of the spectral effects here to give us more to play with. There we go. Let's use another ride here, or cymbal, and give it the same treatment. Let's use pitch shift again. And then let's finally use a clap layer, because why not? Non-tonal drum, clap. Let's do this. Once we have our noise, we can sculpt it later with some more post-processing, and that's what we're going to do. Play our sound, drag and drop it, and find a good starting point. Let's say here. It's already a lot more attacky. And then once we have our noise, we can sculpt it with an EQ. And claps mainly reside around 1 to about 3 hertz. So let's give it some body here. I think that should be alright. I forgot to tail the end here. That's sounding a lot better now. Give it some distortion. And once you give it distortion, it creates a lot of low end, so let's cut that out. And this also gives us an opportunity to sculpt it even more. Oh, that's a lot better. And then the reverb is what's going to sell the clap sound. Let's do that. Freeze, flatten it, and then adjust the tail again. Lovely. More EQing. I'm fine with that actually. Let's go ahead and freeze and flatten that. And there's our clap. And then we've got one more thing to create, and that's a snare. Again, almost exactly the same. The main thing that changes now is that we're going to use the sum oscillator to create our tone. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to use envelope 2 to create our volume envelope for that body. Turning the level all the way down on the sub, and then drag and dropping envelope 2 to that level. I'm going to adjust that to taste and also the pitch. And then let's just open up each one of these oscillators one by one and find a tone that we like. I'm going to use shift here to give that tone I want. And then I'm going to use a clap layer here. Oh, that's going to be real dope. And then one more layer. And then we're going to drag and drop that sample once more. And let's give that some post-processing. I'm going to give it a transient with a compressor, relatively slow attack, relatively fast release, relatively strong threshold. Let's just make it really extreme. Well, that's already going into shape. And let's cut that tail off a little bit. And let's shape that. Maybe even change the pitch actually. Oh! That sounds really dope, really high pitched. That's really cool. I'm gonna keep that actually, that's really, really cool. I did not expect that to happen. Okay, definitely needs that transient there. Let's make it even more transienty by just boosting that first few milliseconds. And then let's give it some reverb at the end. I did not expect it to sound that good, that high pitched. Short reverb. Actually, what if I do the reverb last? Freeze and flatten it, and then pitch it down. That sounds really good there now. That's crazy. Freeze, flatten. And that's our snare. And just like that, we have made a hi-hat, a cymbal, which can be a crash or a ride, a clap, and a snare, all by using Serum's Spectral synthesizer. Let's put it in context now. We'll make another MIDI drop just like the previous examples over here. I'm going to take the hi-hat and just disperse it like this. We'll do a double length of one of these because I'm going to fit in both the clap and the snare. And then the ride will be on every other beat here. And then on the snare, it'll be double time there. And then let's use a kick drum from the sample pack. Let's use this kick drum, for example. Boom, batch, boom, boom, batch. And then for the second one, do a different kick. Let's double this whole thing and try all the basses that I use in this example. See how that fits. That's actually really sick. I'm really happy with that. If you want to get these drums over here that we made, the clap, snare, hi-hat, and ride that I made in this video, you can get it for free in my Discord. And again, as I said, you can get this full sample pack I've made using the exact same techniques here. Here it is, the Serum 2 mini drum kit. That's a quick example of what these sound like. You can get all those samples on my Patreon. Again, link in the description. And speaking of Patreon, thank you to all my free Patreon members for showing your support. Much love to my tier 1 patrons on the screen right now for supporting the channel directly. And I'd also like to shout out Delta Rose, Lizard, and I Write for being my highest tier patrons. You're absolute legends. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video around. All my links are in the description below, my Patreon, Discord, merch, and more. Once again, thanks a lot for watching, and stay creative. See you in a bit.